Buonasera and benvenuti to another edition of Cucina Quarantena. And today I'm live with you from Seattle, where we actually have a real live quarantine at this point. So we had a lockdown order that came out this evening, and so we are for reals staying home, which is great because I started the afternoon today, thinking this was going to happen. I kind of heard. So come with me and let me show you what I did to my pantry. I emptied the whole pantry and I itemized the whole thing, cleaned all the shelves. And look at that. Is that not a thing of beauty? Look at all of that food, all nicely organized so I can see what I have. You know, I don't know the last time. When was the last time we did this, Luca?
Oh boy, probably years.
It's been a long time. So like down here, I went through and organized to just see how much I have of each thing. And this is a really great exercise now that you have time on your hands to do, because I suddenly feel completely comfortable with how much food I have. I have no need to, feel like I need to go buy stuff, because most of this stuff has been in the pantry for longer than I'd like to admit. So we have plenty of food, although I do have a 15-year-old who's 6'5" using the camera right now, so can't guarantee it's enough food, but we can do this. Okay.
Give me food.
So tonight, I am going to use the pasta that we made a couple of days ago and we dried, and we're going to make fettuccini with a sort of mixture of things that I just found in the fridge. Now, I am a scratch cook. I don't typically use recipe books. That's just kind of how I am. I learned to cook in Italy when I was in college from my great professor, Ostra Zarina, who was the architecture professor from the University of Washington. She used to do these dinners where she'd teach us how to cook. And I learned a lot about how to just make things with what you have. Italian cooking at its base is cucina povera. They call it poor kitchen, poor food, because people just use whatever they had. So what I learned in Italy was you can make something out of anything you have. And no matter how much money you have, no matter what you have on hand, you can always make a simple pasta with what you've got. So tonight I went through the fridge and I looked at what was slightly dying. Oh, we have our guest star arriving right now.
Mm-hmm.
Come on in. Come on. There's our guest star. I know everybody wonders where Isis is. So tonight when I went and I looked in the fridge, what we had a package of spicy Italian sausage. This was a link that was looking like it was about to go south. We had a bundle of asparagus that I picked up at the store the other day that needs to be used. And then from the pantry, I had garlic and I had onions. This is, again, not a recipe that exists anywhere. It's just something I came up with in my brain. So these are things that I think all go together. When you use sausage usually goes with cream sauces pretty well. Sausage can go with tomato sauces pretty well. It can also be sort of standalone just with some olive oil. So you can use sausage in a lot of different ways. Vegetables are often very good with cream sauces. Asparagus definitely wouldn't go with tomato sauce. I would never make a tomato-based sauce for asparagus because just those flavors don't really match. So in my head, I'm thinking cream sauce, I'm thinking sausage, I'm thinking asparagus. So this is how I came up with what I'm putting together. My cream sauce is going to be made tonight with half and half because that's what I have. So we're just going to go with what we've got. And this is going to be the theme going forward for these broadcasts, is I'm going to teach you how to cook with what you just happen to have on hand. I hope you went out and found a big bottle of good olive oil because that will make everything better. So tonight, the two pieces of equipment I'm using my favorite all-clad pot and chef's pan. These, I worked at a cooking store briefly a time ago, so I collected a big collection of all-clad pans, which are the best pans ever. And this chef's pan is my favorite shape of pan because you could do a sauce in here and saute it like a frying pan, but then you can also put all your pasta in at the very end and cook it briefly in a sauce, which, as you know, is the magic trick to making an excellent pasta. Okay, so I've got everything just about prepped. I need to prep the rest of the asparagus. You probably already know this, but when you get asparagus, remember you can't eat the ends. The ends are always not so great. So to get rid of the wood part, you just kind of go to the end and you snap it off. And I know that looks like a lot to get rid of, but believe me, you don't want to eat the woody part. So grab on the end and figure out where it's going to snap naturally. There you go. And then what I do, because I'm still suspicious that these ends can be a little bit woody, is that I've decided on this kind of interesting chop. So look, if you can zoom in here. So the ends, what I'm doing with these is I'm cutting off the ends, and then I'm cutting those into a little bit finer chop. So I'm kind of trimming these and cutting them into smaller pieces, little bite-sized pieces, in case they're tough. So in case these are tough at all, they'll be cooked a little bit longer, and they'll get more cooked because they're smaller pieces. So that's the first thing I'm doing. The ends in a nice finer dice. Okay, and that'll add a lot of flavor to the sauciness.
Flavor.
Yeah, we like flavor. All right, and then for the rest of the asparagus, I'm just cutting it into about centimeter long pieces, more or less. So these ones too. Usually I use a better knife. I don't know why I grabbed this one. Use a proper knife. Don't cut your fingers off. Yeah, this is not. It's because I made myself a little cocktail to go along. That's what I did. I picked this up to cut up the lime. Gin and tonic, because quinine is an anti-malarial, and in these days with viruses, it's a health food, really. All right, so let's get going here. All right, I've got all my stuff chopped. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I think that's good. I may want to blend it. I'm not sure yet. That's kind of the mystery piece. I was thinking about pureeing a little bit of it to make it more of a greeny sauce, but I'm going to kind of see how it goes. So let's just see how my imaginary pasta sauce goes. I think I mentioned to some of you that I was an architect in a past life, and I custom designed my entire kitchen, and this house makes me so happy because I love my kitchen so much. It's exactly the way I wanted it. Well, no, we'll give them a tour another time. But everything is high. I'm 6'2", and I raised all of my counters up to 42 inches, so I don't have to bend over. So that's why everything looks a little higher maybe than it does at your house. Okay, so heating up the pan. We've got our boiling water. I'm not putting the pasta in yet because remember, the fresh pasta, even if it's dried, it's going to cook super fast. But I want to have that on standby because it's going to go really fast once we start actually cooking here instead of me just talking. This is a trick I learned from a Chinese cook. You heat up the pan. This is basically like a wok. You heat it up before you put the oil in, and then things won't stick to it. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, so you can see it kind of sheets off because it's already been preheated. All right, and then in goes the sausages. Run my hand clean so I don't cross-contaminate. Okay. All right. I probably don't need to put in the olive oil because the sausage will be kind of sticky. Why don't you come on in and have a look at the food rather than me? I'm not as interested as the food. This is so easy that Luca could do it, so maybe our next lesson he's going to have to do it.
Maybe.
But really the most important thing to know about cooking pasta sauces is you just need to use what's in your fridge, use your imagination, and kind of come up with what you like. We like things a little spicy in this house. We like the spicy life, and Italians don't usually like spicy. I mean, Southerners do. They have the pepperoncino and all of that, but for the most part, Italians like more mild food. You're really loath to find actual proper spicy food anywhere in Italy. So, using a spicy Italian sausage, not 100% on the authenticity scale, but I like it because it's what I have. Alright, so I'm just breaking up the sausage meat. And this, what I'm making tonight, is enough for me and the two kiddos. But, remember that pasta is part of a meal. In Italy, it's not the whole meal. Here I know we have it, and that's our main dish. It's the only thing we have. But in Italy, you would usually always have something else. We'll probably put together a salad or something else to go with it. I'm not sure yet. What do you think, Luca? Salad?
Salad sounds good, but the asparagus is awful, green vegetable-y. So.
Yeah.
Then again, that's coming from me, so.
Yeah, you're not such a vegetable guy. Okay, so the sausage looks pretty brown and broken up. So the next thing that goes in is going to be our onion. Not a whole lot of onion. Onion always goes in more or less first into any of these kinds of things. I do meat, then I do onion, because the onion takes a little bit longer to cook. Get that a little bit browned. And then we're going to toss in the garlic, and the garlic should always come in a few minutes after the onion, because if you add it too early, you'll lose the flavor. And I told you guys the other day, garlic is not really an ingredient that Italians actually use very often. It's not typically.
But garlic's just so good that we put it in everything, and we love it.
Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm going to let those go. And because asparagus takes a little bit of time to cook, I'm going to speed up the additions here more than I normally would. So in goes the garlic. It's actually so pleasurable to cook because you guys know that I travel so much, and I just miss cooking because I really enjoy it. There are times when I'm traveling that I'll rent an Airbnb and just get a place with a nice kitchen. I did that in Sicily last year. I just rented an Airbnb for 2 days in between tours and went to the grocery store and bought a whole bunch of the wonderful ingredients that you can't get at home easily. I did that actually at my friend Stacy Gibboni's house.
Stacy, if you're watching.
Yeah, we stayed at her house for 3 days in Venice, and we cooked every night, and it was so fun to go see what wonderful ingredients we could find in the local grocery stores there.
And they danced about in the kitchen while listening to Vivaldi.
We did. Hello, Isis. All right, I'm changing my mind about...
Meow.
All right, let's get a proper knife going here. I'm changing my mind about this. I want a little bit finer dice on this asparagus. This is just one bundle of asparagus, by the way, so it's probably a little less than a pound of asparagus. And that obviously is in season at your grocery store. Okay, so into the pan of the asparagus. Obviously a very well used cutting board there. Okay. Yeah, and I like the smells. The smells are good. I don't think I need to add anything else. Just remember that Italians don't use a ton of extra things, like extra spices. You know, my spice cabinet stays basically shut. It's just fresh ingredients to focus on. Okay, so since I'm feeling good about this, and I'm feeling like this is going to kind of come together quickly, I think I'm ready to put in the pasta. Oh, am I ready to put in the pasta? I'm not sure. Let's have a sip of gin and tonic and think about it.
Flip a coin, maybe?
Not feeling the pasta just yet because it's so thin. The fettuccine that I made was, I think I finished it on setting 6 on my pasta roller. It's really thin. So I actually think, because I want to get some good flavor going here, let's hold off on that for just a second. I'm going to turn this up a wee bit and get a good view of that movie. Can you guys smell it?
Wish you could. It smells absolutely wonderful.
So simple ingredients. And I think that as this being stuck at home thing continues, it's going to be great to just start inventorying what you have and using what you have as it's starting to spoil. I'm going to show you guys one day how to make a wonderful soup out of whatever you've got, because that's always my backstop for Alright, so we're just cooking. How are you all doing tonight? I hope you're all doing well. Enjoying this break from the madness. I was talking to my dad today, and my dad is, he's a cool guy. And
He is a cool guy. I can confirm.
he's the best. And, you know, he's pretty upbeat, no matter how grim the situation may feel to everybody. He has a good feeling about it. And, you know, I listen to my dad. So I'm not feeling so grim today. I feel like it's not an optimal time in history, but maybe something good can come out of it. This is fun. I would have never done this with you guys if this hadn't been the situation. So, you know, we'll take what we can get. Okay, so I'm feeling good about this. I'm looking at the asparagus. It's a bright green. So I'm going to put in the half and half. And the point here is going to be that we're just going to add straight up half and half and then cook it down a little bit until it turns into a saucy consistency. If that doesn't happen, if for some reason I'm not feeling like it's turning into a saucy enough consistency to cover the pasta, I'm going to have two paths. I can either take a scoop of this, dump it into the Vitamix and blend it into a paste and then put it back, or I can add cornstarch. I'm not making a bechamel. This is not a bechamel. This is a kind of simple cream turned into something thicker, okay? So I think, does that look like enough half and half? I'm feeling like it is.
Yeah, I think that is.
Yeah. All right, so I think it's time. I'm ready to. This is what we made the other day. It was hanging on a hanger, and then we took it off the hanger, and it turned into these lovely strips of nice, as I'm losing it, nice little fettuccine strips. And like I said, this is going to cook real fast. So let's walk this over. It's going to be, I chose a nice big pot because then I can easily get it in there. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's starting to thicken a little bit. Go, sauce, go. All right, I'm going to give it a little taste. It's missing
Salt and pepper?
Yeah. I was hesitant about salt because that sausage is pretty salty, but it's not lending quite enough salt. And that is, by the way, one of the secrets to cream sauces in Italian cooking is over-salting it. I find that if I go too timid on the salt, the cream sauces often end up having no flavor at all. And also, if it tastes just a hair too salty before it hits the pasta, that's the right zone. That's the zone you want to be in. You want to be in the slightly too salty zone, because once it hits the pasta and it spreads out on the pasta, it's not going to seem very salty anymore. Yeah, there we go. Yep. We're onto it here. Yep.
Taste your sauces. I think there's a quote from Wolfgang Puck that says, "No food made in your house should ever be under or over seasoned."
Oh. Some advice from Luca. All right. So I am a little concerned that this is not thickening up quick enough. Because once the wet pasta goes in, it's going to thin it out a little bit. But I think I'm going to reserve my judgment. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull out of the baking cabinet just a tiny bit of cornstarch. You know, like I said, I cook by feel, and I'm feeling like because I didn't use cream, I used half and half because it's what I had. It's not going to be quite enough to thicken the sauce. So I'm just adding a little bit of cornstarch, cooking it in, and that should turn that around a little bit. It happens usually. Okay, I think we're onto something here. Okay. Yep. Yes. Okay, I'm feeling it. It's good. Let's go ahead and put the pasta in because the sauce is more or less on the way. Oh, okay, homemade pasta.
Poor homemade pasta. It's gonna break and crackle.
No, it just like melts into the pot.
Yeah. Homemade pasta cooks faster than store-bought pasta. So keep that in mind if you followed our instructions and made the pasta.
Well, and fresh pasta, if you still have fresh pasta, it's going to cook super fast.
Yeah.
This is going to cook fast. It's homemade.
Basically, you can
fresh
just
pasta.
dunk a strand in warm water and it'll be ready to put in a sauce or on the plate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, look at that. Oh, it's perfection. Let's turn this down a little bit. We want to go down to a wee simmer. Oh, yeah, look at that consistency. That's what I'm talking about right there. I'm feeling pepper somehow. I'm feeling pepper might be the right thing here.
And remember, you can never add enough pepper.
Oh, you know, and I don't really need to blend in the asparagus at all. It's got a wonderful light asparagus taste. So it's not overwhelming. It's just sort of a nice light taste. I'm going to just make sure that this is, oh yeah, see, this is cooking up super fast. So one of the ways to know if pasta is ready, at least fresh pasta, is you can watch it, and then as soon as it starts kind of coming to the top, floating to the top, that means that it's getting pretty close. All right. And this continues to be perfect consistency. It's going to thicken up just a wee bit more too before we're completely done. Actually, I'm going to turn that up just a little bit more because I do want it to thicken up a wee bit more. Ah, yeah, the pepper. That's what I was forgetting. You could put a dash of cayenne in here if you wanted to. I think straight up black pepper's going to do the trick for me. All right. And how's this looking? Oh, this looks beautiful. Can you zoom in here, Luca? Look how pretty that is.
That does look awful pretty.
Yeah.
But that is forming a ring.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
All right. Time for another sip of the gin and tonic. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're done. We're overdoing here. Way down. Because it's just where I want it to be. I'm turning it down to a bare simmer. And it's going to move really fast now because I think we're almost done with the pasta. Am I going to get that? Oh, let's try. The easiest way to know if it's done, honestly, is just to taste it.
Mm.
Mm. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm. Mm. Where did the strainer go? Oh. Oh, here we go. Pop the colander. Sink. No need to show them our dirty sink.
Hey, I just cleaned that sink.
Okay. Slightly underdone. Okay, there goes. I don't want any of the pasta water going into the pan because I don't want to thin that sauce. Drain it pretty good. Toss in the fresh pasta. And voila! We have a beautiful spicy sausage, asparagus, fettuccine with fresh pasta. And I'm just on a very low setting, stirring the pasta and the sauciness together and letting it just absorb a tiny bit of that yummy sauciness to finish cooking. Oh man, this looks great.
It does.
Okay, I think I'm good with that. Okay, I'm gonna turn that off. Plate. Getting the pasta out is going to be the tricky piece. What do I want to do? Okay. So I'm going to just grab and spin to get it out. And lift it up and onto the plate. And if you spin it again, it kind of makes a little bit of a nice presentation generally. And then you can take your scooper and put more of the goodies on it because we want to make sure there's plenty of goodies. Plenty of goodies. All right. So you could top that with a little bit of Parmesan if you wanted to, but I don't think it probably needs it. So there you go. That is a homemade fettuccine with spicy sausage and asparagus made just for you. Buon appetito, I hope you enjoy, and thank you for joining us for another edition of Cucina Quarantena, live from Seattle, and I'll be putting this up on YouTube in a short little while so you can have it for reference there for the future. Ciao, buona serata everybody.